Welcome to the Porsche Club Insider, your one stop for all things Porsche and PCA. Here's your host, Vu Nguyen, and the Insider crew.
Welcome everyone to episode 194. On this episode, we're going to talk about Porsche Clubs Worldwide. They had a virtual town hall meeting, as well as what we saw at SEMA, the Specialty Equipment Manufacturers Association conference or big show that they have in Las Vegas. But before we get into it, I'll make sure I thank our presenting sponsor, Pirelli. Pirelli tires have to achieve the highest levels of performance, safety, noiselessness, and grip on the road surface. Innovative tires that can satisfy even the most specific mobility needs of the end consumer. I want to thank you all for listening. If you aren't currently a PCA member, own a Porsche, what are you waiting for? Grab your VIN and head over to pca.org. And for those of you that don't currently own a Porsche, check out our test drive program again at pca.org. And I want to remind all of our members and those of you that are looking to join, the fall raffle is open where you can have your chance at winning a 911 Carrera GTS plus $35,000. And you can only enter if you're a PCA member. We're at the national office. Today's a special day. I have, well, not because I have Manny to the right, but it is a special day. I have Damon to the left manning the controls here. It's a special day because you know why, Manny?
Because I have a new laptop.
Well, you have a new laptop with only one sticker,
Yeah.
but today is a day 20 years ago, my hobby life and my career collided.
Wow.
20 years today. So kind of cool. Time flies when you're having fun. You got some stuff in the mail from members. I see this folder here.
Yeah, I think this is the it's the 914 mob. It was the 914 group out of Philly.
Thank you guys.
They even sent me a new sticker, so it became my first sticker on my new laptop.
Very cool. So this 914 calendar for 2026, and you put it on my desk, and I was kind of surprised. Well, not surprised that you're putting it on my desk, but you said your car is in there. I'm like, why would they feature a box of parts? But I think as we go through all 914s up until September, and lo and behold, look at this. My 356.
356 invaded the 914 calendar.
From the Boardwalk reunion. Look at this, Damon. How cool is that? So thank you guys. Thank you everyone from the 914 mob for sending us stuff. We love getting random things from the members, so it's very cool. Thank you for that.
Yep.
I do have a little bit of a show and tell today. Hopefully Damon can pull this up. So I know you do your own brakes, and I know Damon, you do your own brakes. What do people often forget to do when they're putting on new rotors and rear drum? I happen to have a car. I happen to have done drums this weekend, so I needed it. But what do people often forget that can cause vibration in the steering wheel?
It sounds like rust.
Yeah, a lot of times rust on the hubs. People just pull off a disc and throw on a new disc and torque everything down. And a lot of times, if you don't clean the rust around the studs and the backing plate, you can definitely get vibration. So there's this tool I saw online somehow. You ever use one of these, Manny? Because I had a like wire wheel and a wire brush that I would have to kind of maneuver around all the studs.
That's what I use.
You have one of these?
No, I use the wire brush.
Oh yeah. So this goes. You can see the photo here on the screen. Goes right over your stud. Put it on your drill. It comes with a special detaching thing. Spin it. Super clean, and go around the hub, and boom, you're done. And these are replaceable pads, just held on by Velcro. Pretty cool. I think it's like $12. Yeah, to minimize vibration.
Not too bad. I've never used something quite like that to clean wheel studs or anything. So I was just thinking about, should I order new studs for my Cayman, because I know that you're like they don't last forever.
Right.
But I think I'm just going to keep an eye on them, and it doesn't get driven in the rain all that much, so no rust.
I think it'll be fine because it's usually on the track. I did it 500 track days. I only broke one wheel stud.
Oh yeah, I think if you're tracking, I've read some things. There's some interval to replace them.
Yeah, I'm sure that
but for street driving, I'm probably okay.
Yeah, I don't think you're pulling that kind of sustained level.
Exactly.
Geez.
Or unless you're driving over, what is it, the bumps and stuff all the time.
Yeah, true. In Baltimore, right? No.
Yeah, exactly.
Now the guys who told me that why they switched over to titanium bolts versus, I guess, steel that comes standard on like a Cayman or anything newer.
Yeah.
And because I joked, I'm like, can you feel the lighter weight in those bolts? The between titanium and steel. But they said it doesn't rust. That's why they get it. It doesn't rust.
Huh.
Have you ever had a problem with the newer cars rusting?
No,
Neither have I.
not really.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's mostly for working on older cars and stuff that rusting. I did have, you know how you always have that one nut or that one bolt on a project that causes you to lots of pain and anguish.
It's always the last one.
Well, almost, yes. In fact, we were replacing struts, and I hate to go back to the Corolla, but we were putting struts on, teaching Jonah how to put struts on the front of the Corolla. The left side we did, no problem. The right side, all of a sudden, the one nut that goes to the stabilizer bar, the end links. It's just like a 18 mil, and it was stuck somehow, and we put an impact on it and just round it off. So how would you get it off?
Not with an impact.
Well, I mean, I got it off with an impact on the other side, and it was no problem.
Oh, yeah.
But it rounded off. And so, of course, taking a deep breath, stand back. And if you were to heat it, I thought about heating it up.
This is the end link, so you don't have a lot of leverage to be able to bang something on it.
Correct. And so I'm like, oh, man, if I put heat to it, then I might mess up the end link because it has a rubber boot on the other side. I'm like, well, I don't want to do that. And then, of course, you try the one method that never works, but you always have to try it, is I grabbed a pair of vice grips, just tried to manhandle it. And, of course, it didn't work. And so I'm sitting there thinking. So I love my Dremel with my baby cutting wheel. And let you
have a nutcracker too?
Well, yeah. So I was gonna say. So in my little toolbox with the Dremel was the nutcracker, because I put that in there when you wanted to borrow it. But I started first by just carefully cutting the nut. Of course, you want to make sure you don't go so deep that you mess up the threads on the bolt itself. So I did, cut it nice, clean, and then I used the nutcracker to kind of wedge it, and it popped. It popped and came out. It was like finger tight. Came out no problem, and finished the rest of the project. So it worked. Jonah learned a lot yesterday.
Nice. So you did all this to save an anti-roll bar end link?
Correct, because I'm cheap, and it was Sunday afternoon.
Because my answer was, this isn't something where you just where you remove the bolt. This is where
you would just
try and save it. You just cut it somehow and just buy a new end link, because why not? New end links, they make the car feel better.
Well, this is an.
I wonder how much a new end link costs for a Corolla.
I bet you probably $15, if not less.
So I win because I saved $15, and I didn't have to go drive and get it. But all right, let's talk about Porsche Clubs Worldwide. If you're not familiar with Porsche Clubs Worldwide, it's basically the nomenclature that they give for the gathering of all the different Porsche clubs around the world, and they come together in a town hall meeting, I would say maybe twice a year, and club coordination is a department at PAG. And we're very fortunate to have a great relationship with them, with Sebastian, with Christoph, that lead our market and the organization. But it's a way for them to share best practices, allow the different clubs to come together and learn from each other. I will say that a lot of times Porsche Club of America is like the reference point, just because we're so large. And to put that into perspective, I don't know, Damon, you probably know this answer, but how many Porsche Club members are there in the entire universe? So Porsche Club Great Britain, Porsche Club Germany, Porsche Club Japan, PCA, add them all together. How many are there?
So you said this in the what was it, the open house meeting, and I should know this, but I'm gonna say it's like 285,000 worldwide, and we're like 160.
So very close. We are so in total. There's 270,000 Porsche Club members worldwide, and we are currently just over 170. So 170,000 out of 270. So, and then the next largest club would be Porsche Club of Great Britain, which I think today they're probably about 35 to 40,000. So just think of, the gap between us and the next largest organization.
Very large. Yes, for sure.
But the interesting topic, so some highlights from the call. Have you ever heard of Porsche Club Registro Italiano Emotion?
No, but that sounds like a Ferrari model.
It sounds very fancy, yeah?
It does.
So this is one of the first recognized Porsche clubs that is dedicated to EVs. And they had their first event at Hans-Peter Porsche's Traumworks in September. And it was all Taycans and
I hope he had Chargers there.
They did.
Okay,
so
good.
remember, I think you were on the one trip where they brought, it's kind of funny, because it's like this huge 18-wheeler that has like 20 charging stations built into the 18-wheeler. And I don't know that the charging, like, is the 18-wheeler full of batteries or is there like a diesel generator powering it? But they did bring a mobile charging station, so it worked. Yeah. How about this one? Have you ever heard of Paradise Parade? Paradise Parade. 2025, of course.
No, I haven't. It's just Paradise Parade or something.
Saint Tropez. Sounds very fancy, and they were very proud, as they should be. They brought. How many cars do you think a big gathering in Europe is considered? Like, how many cars would it take?
I would say, I don't know, a big gathering, 150 cars.
No, this one had 300, so it was
okay.
For them, it was really big.
I was going to say,
I thought it was a trick question, so I'm like, I'm going to go a little less than.
I see pictures out of England.
Yeah.
When GB does stuff, Porsche Club Great Britain, and they've got fields and fields of Porsches.
GB is the second largest, so they can pull those numbers. But I think the average clubs, they're very fragmented. Like in Germany, you would think there'd be a huge showing, right? But there's kind of like you always say the Corvette Club. Like in Maryland, there's probably like 50 Corvette clubs, right? So they all kind of have their own little world. So in Germany, it's like that as well. So for them to pull 150 to 300 cars for an event, that's quite huge. And then also keep in mind, it's the ability to have a Porsche in other countries. Like, you have to be at the I would say most of you have to be at the very top of the income level, because the cars are more expensive, the taxes are more expensive, the running costs are more expensive. Just having property to store your Porsche, it's unlike the United States, where we thankfully have the ability to have fairly lower car prices, and we have enough land to store all the cars that we have. But it's a little bit different.
But most states, the laws, I think, are a little bit more relaxed, even though sometimes we think they aren't. With older cars,
you
can have so many older cars, you can run the older cars, you're not getting them inspected every year. Some states do that, but a lot don't. So that makes life easier when you're owning several vintage cars.
Yeah. They went into a little bit. This one, Manny, you know about it, and it's called the F.A.T, the F.A.T ice race. Tell our listeners what the F.A.T ice race is about.
So that was a ice race that was resurrected in Zelmzee, which is where the family, compound is. It's a very Porsche bought this home in Zelmzee, kind of like a vacation home for the family. It's in Austria, and it was right on the other side of the mountain where Gmünd was. So he would go back and forth from Gmünd, where they were building the cars originally, to Zelmzee. And now it's become quite famous because it's an ice race that was resurrected largely in part by F.A.T Porsche, the son of Wolfgang Porsche, who's really really taken the ball and run with this F.A.T brand, F.A.T, which was I believe, a French transport company, and they were a sponsor of a lot of race teams, Porsche and other brands back in the 90s. So they became synonymous with endurance racing. So,
and I have to say, just because, and I'm going to get my mug up here with my title since I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to say, so I have back here on my screen, if you're on YouTube, a schedule of 2026 events. The F.A.T Ice Race is the first one. Do you want me to bring that 2026 schedule up?
Sure.
At this point,
yeah,
it's kind of interesting to me. Actually, I really want to.
These are not all the events around the world, but these are the major ones. And I just took a screenshot during the presentation. That's Christoph Ritter, our liaison at Porsche Club Coordination, and those are the major events. And of course, in there you should see Porsche Parade. There it is, Porsche Parade. Lake Placid, New York.
But the great thing about F.A.T is that they're doing it in the U.S. too. Is it Aspen, I think?
Yeah, I think it was.
It's not cheap to attend, and Freddie would love to make it where it would be affordable for everyone, but it's right now it's a challenge in that kind of ski resort, having a race during the season. ZLMZ, I think, is a little bit more forgiving, and it's easier for the Europeans to attend that reasonably. But he's actually starting a karting league for young people who can't afford the tremendous cost of going pro karting. He's starting their own karting league to help find the future Formula One champions. And they're starting 2 or 3. They already have, I think, 2 here in the U.S. They're starting a third one next year, too. So, yeah, that brand, if you see it, it's partially owned by F.A.T Porsche. So,
yeah,
the Porsche family.
F.A.T being young, and I think the price point and the way that they set up these events, it's very hip. And, music, it's like big kids playing in the snow.
I would love to have be a fly on the wall when he makes a phone call and he says, "Yeah, I'd like to have a GT1 and maybe a WSC 95 at this event," and then he gets to drive them.
Yeah,
that's how. Because there's pictures if you follow him on Instagram, he's driving these cars across the pass from Gamoon to ZLMZ, and that would be it'd be good to be a friend of F.A.T.
There's some iconic photos of people being towed by Porsches and skiing behind them. Was that part of F.A.T, like back in the day?
So I think they recreated that 2 years ago. For Mark Porsche said he wore an Elvis impersonator costume, and he was I think they're trying to recreate the glory days of in the, I guess, the 50s when they used to race on the. I don't think they do it on the lake bed anymore, but it was a lake bed back in the day.
And if you're wondering, can Porsches do well in the snow? I can tell you, with studded tires, they're incredible. We've had the opportunity to drive, and they're just different millimeter studs. I'm not proficient in stud tire technology, but even a rear-wheel drive Porsche with studded tires, is almost unstoppable in the snow. As long as it's not too deep.
2 years ago, Stefan Artelli was driving the GT1 98 with studded tires.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Makes for incredible Instagram photos. Yeah. All right. And the, let's see, another event that they talk about, and this is sort of a bucket list for me because you see these photos on social media and the amount of money that is poured into the event. In 2026, Icons of Porsche in Dubai will be their 5th anniversary. Man, have you seen those photos?
I have, but I thought you were going to say Goodwood.
No, I didn't. We didn't even talk as Goodwood. We didn't
that'd be my bucket list. You've been to Goodwood, though.
Yes, but I haven't been to the one that the revival.
That's what I want to get to.
I've been to Goodwood, and it is.
Actually, for anyone out there who wants to take me, I don't want to be picky. I'll take the Festival Speed or the Revival. Damon's been out to. Did you go to Festival Speed or Revival?
Yeah, I was the Festival of Speed, and it was a lot of fun. I think for me, it was probably my. I mean, I don't hate to say it, but I wish it were like a purely Porsche event. But I can. It's like what is it? A Rennsport reunion in a lot of ways, like the feeling that you get there at Festival of Speed because they have so much going on. It's complete overload, and it's the variety. So for me, you get to see Porsches, but you also get to see all the other stuff. That might have been running in period or brand new things that manufacturers often bring out to Festival of Speed. I've never been to a Revival. I would love to go to a revival because you see the YouTube videos and like Adrian Newey will be driving an early short wheelbase 911S, you know, sideways racing against other motorsport celebrities, if you want to call them that. And it's pretty insane.
So for the Dubai, I see all the time when they do it, Porsche is heavily supportive. Is that just like a car show?
Yeah, so it's just imagine, let's say a Goodwood or a Rennsport, but it's all, I would say it's primarily modern, and it's like a huge festival. I would say it would be a motorsports festival, lots of dough, and yeah, maybe because I've been to Goodwood that I wouldn't, you know, Goodwood. Here's the thing. I was impressed with Goodwood. I also didn't go when it was the best of weather, but I still enjoyed it. There is a tremendous amount of history there, all makes and models, as Damon said. But the infrastructure to get to Goodwood is not good. Like it's little country roads, and the event itself is in the middle of nowhere, like an old airport. And it's you and thousands of people going to the same place. It's not that organized.
Yeah, but it's England. So is that just maybe?
Don't say it's the charm. Waiting in line.
Well, it is part of the charm.
Waiting in line is not in traffic.
So I didn't call the queue, sir.
I didn't wait. I didn't. It is the queue, right?
The queue.
I didn't wait super long in line. I mean, yeah, there was a line, but I felt like when I went to the Festival of Speed, it was fairly smooth considering that you're on a 2-lane road and there is a lot of traffic.
Like a 1.5 lane road. I mean, it is.
Well,
tight.
that's 2-lane roads for them, 1.5 for us.
It is tight.
You know, and that's what I mean. It's a little bit different in that sense. You know, I mean, but are you going to find anything as big as here in the U.S. out there?
Yeah.
You know, infrastructure.
What I did
Probably
like
not.
very much about it was similar to how like the Porsche Museum is set up. You could walk up to anything and everything. Like there was no boundaries. You know, cars are flying by. Like I guess attorneys aren't as involved. Like you can truly feel the experience. I mean, there's barriers, but you get up close to a lot of stuff. But yeah, Goodwood definitely is a bucket list.
I would feel like it's easier for Porsche to ship cars to Goodwood or Dubai than it is to the U.S. It's rare that we get factory museum cars.
I would say it definitely would be easier to get them to Goodwood, but I don't know that's any easier to get them to Dubai. I think the reason why they get to Dubai is
they don't have that big pond.
Yeah, but still, I mean, it's not like they're driving it to Dubai. They still got to put it on a plane. So once it's on a plane, you know, it stays in the air a little bit longer. But I think it goes to Dubai because guess what? Big dollar buyers are going to be in Dubai, right? So it's like you can sell pretty much anything in Dubai.
That's why they're not having Rennsport at a Walmart parking lot.
In fact, it's been shared that they're trying to pull off the largest collection of Carrera GTs in 2026 in Dubai. And that would make sense. I mean, there's probably a lot of Carrera GTs in Dubai, and the people that have Carrera GTs probably would be willing to ship them to have an incredible experience at Dubai. Wasn't it, remember for Rennsport, wasn't it the original intent that there was going to be a lot of Porsche Dubai setup theme, but I think once budgets kind of came in, it was pulled back.
Porsche Dubai costs revealed themselves.
they pulled it all back.
They went back to the Walmart.
Yeah. But anyways, so that's something maybe to put on your radar if you have a lot of travel points. I think traveling to Dubai is quite the long air flight, right? Probably 20 some hours to get there.
Yeah.
Now I have kind of put this like little idea into Loan's head, because my cousins, when they fly back and forth from Vietnam, they actually go through Dubai. So if I can get to Dubai and then just be like, oh, well, we're already here, we can do Vietnam as well. Like that would be kind of cool. Then I have 2 bucket list items in one trip. So I'm trying to angle it. I'm trying to work it. So,
you know, something I saw on the list of 2026 events is if you're on YouTube, you can see this. PCA Kuwait Festival. So we got something going on in Kuwait, or is that Porsche Club of Africa?
That's
Oh, wow.
I didn't see that. Well, it's obviously not us, but it's another Porsche club. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it made me look there for a second. I'm like,
I don't think they have a Porsche Club Africa, though, because that's a continent. So
yeah, it'd be a country. But there's a lot of, you hear of Porsche parades, the various Porsche parades from in different clubs.
I
you
think
hear
there might be one listed.
Look, even
here.
Works reunions in there. Treffens, you hear in there. So let's see. Let's talk about. So they gave out some awards, and one of the big things that Porsche AG is really focusing on is how to attract younger people. I think it's no secret that all car clubs are looking to attract younger people for the future of your clubs. You got to get people coming in as people exit out, and they have this new community that they're going to recognize called Porsche Youngsters. Now, it's not juniors where it's like little kids. I think they're looking for probably anywhere between 25 to...
Well, I did not think that age. I thought
25, 35 maybe. So people that...
Damon, you miss being a youngster.
You're not a youngster.
Yeah.
But Bogdan is a youngster.
Bogdan would be like their primary target. Like someone that is aspiring to be in a Porsche, not necessarily already a Porsche
If
owner.
I call anyone a youngster, I just aged myself, added another 10 years or whatever age I am.
When you say that, you sound old,
sure.
right? Youngster.
What happened to young timer and old timer?
That's what I was going to get that. So
youngster is very American, I feel like.
In Europe, they say old timer, and it's not necessarily a negative, and they say young timer a lot.
Yeah.
We don't say young timer over here.
No.
Yeah, but I just don't want to be old timer.
An oldster.
Oldster. Yeah. They also gave us an update on, did you know that there's a Porsche GT Circle? First of all, some people don't even know what the GT Circle is. You want to share what that is?
I was waiting for you to tell me.
You know what
what is the GT Circle? That's it's not the Spider Circle.
Nope, that's different. Yeah.
So
the GT Circle, obviously, you have to have a GT car, and it's not like a cost associated or anything.
And not a GTS. It's got to be a GT3, GT 4, GT2.
And it's I don't think it's a Spider either. I don't.
Well, see, that's very interesting because at Rennsport, they did let the Spiders in.
Really?
Yeah, oh, yeah, because I was the guy who was communicating.
So a Spider
they were contacting me about their cars in the.
Does it have to be a Spider RS?
Well, back then there wasn't an RS; it was just a Spider. And they were saying it's the same car as a GT4, so they were allowing it. So
maybe
so
interesting. Mm-hmm. Maybe someone that's listening, if you're in the Porsche GT Circle and if you were approved with a Spider, let us know. Does it? It was established in 2023. They actually have a GT Circle app, about 10,000 members in 50 countries, and so yeah, it's I guess you get access to certain updates and information, and they have GT Circle events. I've heard of GT Circle events happening at the Porsche Experience Center in the past. So just one more, it's kind of golden ticket kind of thing you get by owning a GT car. But that's different from the 918 Spider Circle. That's really the Willy Wonka ticket.
I thought it ended, or it's ending soon.
I think it has ended, but yeah, that was pretty cool.
Suppose you have a 928 GT.
Oh, man, that also is a very
or 904 Carrera GTS. Gonna say no to one of those guys, or is that too
GTS
early?
GTS doesn't count though.
Yeah,
I think it really has to do something that's originated out of Wysock.
Yeah, I've got a feeling it's like GT cars starting with the GT3, or maybe the 993 GT2 if we're going to be.
But like 911R is included, the ST is included.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. So it's not just GT cars.
Yeah. It's almost cars that Andy Pruninger has blessed.
Yeah. Okay, so you're talking about newer ones.
Newer ones, yeah. But you bet the old school GT cars, which are equally, if not more valuable, probably want to be in that circle too.
Yeah. At what point do you turn down a 74 RS owner?
Correct. But is that really a GT car? Ooh, man.
I wouldn't be the one to have to explain to people that it's not.
All right, here's another bit of trivia. How many Porsche clubs are there worldwide, Damon? We're one of them.
I'm gonna say, so in our regions, I'm guessing is all just part of PCA.
Yeah,
correct?
so even though we
so-
have 149 regions, we're just one club.
Okay, so
How
I'm
many
gonna
clubs are
say there are 80.
No.
Is it
Way more?
500 and something maybe?
366 Porsche clubs worldwide.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a lot more than I thought.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many, like we alluded to earlier, are in Germany.
Yeah.
And I always say, right place, right time, right attitude, that PCA was able to corral what would have become all separate clubs in the U.S. and Canada to be all part of one big club. Because if not, we would have fallen into the same thing Germany has, where you have all these different small clubs. Mm-hmm. And that's really why Porsche Clubs Worldwide exists, is to help provide resources to these clubs, which are essentially the size of some of our regions. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, they look at us, they meaning the other clubs, management, they look at PCA in amazement, especially when they find out it's run by volunteers, how much... I remember when I was president, and somebody said, "How can you run a club with 100 and some thousand members?" And I was like, "Well, I don't run it by myself." I said, "There's." I showed them. I almost did it like in a government type of thing, federal government, local government. We have all these volunteers that make it possible.
Yeah, when you talk to these other clubs, they are just amazed by what our volunteers are able to achieve, and volunteerism is very different in the rest of the world. A lot of these clubs, the members have money and want to be a part of the club, but when it comes to actually running the events and the administrative side of the club, it's actually Porsche that conducts the events and manages that on a day-to-day basis. They don't have their own Porsche club like we do in terms of staff as well as volunteers. So it's very different. And they their eyes kind of get really big when they hear when we have events that our open house will pull 600 people, almost 300 cars.
Yeah, I was going to say the same amount of cars that they pulled for their recent event.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So let me be sure and thank our newest corporate sponsor, Auto Atlanta. If you're chasing down parts for your Porsche, make sure you reach out to them. Either way, Auto Atlanta has you covered. They've been taking care of Porsche since 1978. They have every part for every Porsche. They ship internationally. They offer tech advice if you need it, no matter where you are in the world. They have a team of all-star Porsche specialists handling everything from complex mechanical repairs to full restorations, regular servicing, and even detailing your car. They also buy and sell pre-owned Porsches. If there's a Porsche in your garage that needs a new home or a new lease on life, give them a call. If you're rebuilding a classic and you just need that little clip or that little nut or bolt, they have you covered. Head over to autoatlanta.com. There is a 5% off coupon code. The letters PCA, the number 5, OFF. Punch that in and get 5% off. Again, that's autoatlanta.com. Porsche parts, Porsche people, Porsche passion since 1978. All right, well, let's get into SEMA, the Specialty Equipment Manufacturers Association convention, which takes over the Las Vegas Convention Center the beginning of November. This is an industry event, meaning for the first 2 days, it is purely open to those that are employed and or open businesses. So it's a B2B meeting. It's not until the last couple of years do they open it up to the public, which is on Friday. And to be honest with you, if you're there for business, being there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is when you want to be there for business.
That's for open up. You've been there earlier than that as a vendor because you're setting up. Exactly.
And then Friday is just honestly just mayhem because the general public comes, and it's a car industry event. Everything automotive aftermarket from when we started going probably 14-15 years ago, it was a lot of motorsports and sports cars and hot rods and such. They had truck stuff, but now I would say it's probably, gosh, I would say maybe even half of it is truck and overlanding, since it's been so incredibly popular. But yeah, it's a great place to go to see, especially for PCA. Many of our partners and sponsors, and we run into members that own businesses there, and our advertisers for Panorama, the podcast, they're all there. But it's also a great place to see current trends and certain things that are coming down the road. And it never ceases to amaze me. There's certain cars that are the theme. When Cybertrucks came out, they were a theme. A lot of booths had Cybertrucks. When the Supra came out, Supras were in a lot of booths. But you can count on every year at SEMA that there will be a nice collection of Porsches in the booths. Like they still draw a crowd, and this year was no different. In fact, the Porsches that are at SEMA are typically highly modified, and this is where we got the idea for creating Unstock, because at the time all these fantastically modified Porsches were built for SEMA, but then after SEMA, the general public didn't get to see them, and they all kind of went back to wherever they were birthed, and they were not really to be seen by any other group. So the idea was that we would invite, and we've done the same thing this time, is to invite some of these cars to come out to Unstock just 2 weeks later. That way it gives them time to kind of recover from SEMA, but then also a lot of these cars reside in the West Coast, so it's pretty easy for them to get to Unstock, and that way our members can see it, and we can get it on social media and such. I got a lot of questions on what was the vibe of SEMA this year. Was it lightly attended? Was it lack of international partners because of tariffs and stuff like that? It was a full house. It was a full house from day one. You definitely saw the larger manufacturers pulling back on the size of their footprint, but they were all there. And so when these manufacturers have a smaller footprint, it enables other groups to get on the show floor, so to speak. And it's very hierarchical at SEMA. Like, you get best spot because you go every year, you invest, and it's not cheap. So some of these smaller organizations were able to get on the main dance floor. So it was still very full. There's been tons of renovations at the Las Vegas Convention Center. Bright lights, open air. There's also this Tesla tunnel that goes from one end of the convention center to the other, and you just basically line up, and they have a bunch of Model 3s and whatever Teslas that can, it's like a little tunnel taxi service that you can go back and forth, and it's pretty cool.
So have they improved the ride and all that stuff of the tunnel? Because I remember it being pretty not great.
Some people could get kind of nauseous. I didn't ride this time, but I saw people going back and forth. There's also a rail system that drops off at the convention center, and you can take the rail back to the main strip.
I always thought the Tesla tunnel would be the ultimate drunk driving test.
Yeah.
Because it seemed like there was very little room for error. I guess first of all, for people listening, you're not driving it yourself. Correct. They have other people driving these. You just hop in to the passenger seats, and they will drive you from one end to the other. Which I think we took it because it took us from one part of the convention center all the way to the other.
Yeah, from like the South Hall up to the
it was free.
West Hall.
Just,
it's free.
Kind of like a metro, but you just get in line and get driven underground.
Yeah. I remember one of the, when we first went, and this reflects sort of the industry, like one hall was pretty much car audio, right? Like car audio and entertainment and stuff like that. Now the whole car audio section is probably a third of one hall. It's pretty sad. I mean, cars today have incredible sound systems that satisfy probably 99% of the public, and there's no reason to modify it. But there is a very niche market for some crazy stuff.
But I would think that cars still age, and even these cars just need electronics and everything. They get old.
Yep.
I mean, Porsches, perfect example.
Yeah.
That the PCM gets old, and you want to be able to upgrade it. And sometimes Porsche just doesn't. They'll only
They
go
don't do
to
it.
a certain model. And so aftermarket then becomes a viable alternative. So that's
Exactly.
interesting because I think about that, and I think about like there's Bose systems out there that are 25 years old.
Yeah.
And you notice speakers get old, and they start to crack, and they don't sound the same. So while this Boxer may be new to you, that system may be sitting out in the sun, just aging itself and sound like crap. So you want to be able to upgrade.
And I want to say the fittest survived, because the companies out there and the systems that are available, they're incredible. Like the amplifiers that used to be 2 feet long and, say 1,000 watts, like that same 1,000 watts is now like in your hand, in the palm of your hand. It's much more efficient.
Is it something that you need a pro shop now to install it, or?
I definitely a pro shop, especially with.
I don't think it's like
cars.
the old days where you had a positive, negative, and then you just hooked up the speakers and you were good to go.
Exactly. You can, newer systems have fiber optics. You have all these sensors in the car. Anytime some people are very aware of even taking off the negative cable on your battery and causing some kind of spark and some kind of shortage. Computers and the systems that are in newer cars now are so incredibly sensitive. Yes, I would say if you're upgrading a newer car, take it to a professional and don't run the risk of frying a computer board. Yeah, totally not worth it.
Maybe I'm reading this a little bit wrong, but I feel like and I'm going to focus a little bit better here, but maybe car audio was the big tech back, 10, 20, 30 years ago. And I wasn't obsessed with the car audio, but I bought a set of speakers for the Corrado and was looking into subwoofers for other cars. But I don't know, you just don't hear about car audio, but you do hear about touchscreens or Rob, putting in, Rob Sass putting in an aftermarket,
CarPlay.
What was it? CarPlay basically into a really old car, and it just sits on top of the dashboard and, all these little knickknacks that have almost nothing to do with car audio.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So it's
they probably don't even call it car audio anymore. I'm sure it's probably.
It's in car.
But to Damon's point, that is a misnomer. That it's not just audio; it's a full integration. But there's got to be a market for it.
You know what's also missing that we used to have all the time? What did we used to have all the time?
Radar detectors.
Well, that's also smaller.
That,
That's down to like 3 major manufacturers.
You're not going to say CB radio, are you?
No, alarms. Remember how everybody and their brother had an alarm on their car?
Yeah, and it was like after it didn't come stock or something, and
There's a few, but it's just not like it used to be.
Or like in a mobilizer, I forget if I'm pretty sure. Well, he doesn't own this car anymore, but my uncle's old RS America, for example, there was like some button he had installed underneath the leather shift boot leather, and you push the button, you would never see it. You would never know if you didn't know
it's a relay to disconnect the ignition system. Like, we used to do all that stuff, but now...
I just remember that movie from the, I guess, 80s or 90s with Charlie Sheen.
Oh, yeah.
He stole Porsches.
Yeah.
And I thought the greatest advertisement for Ungo Box was he looks in it.
Ungo
and
Box.
he tells the other guy, he goes, this got an Ungo Box, don't mess with it.
Yeah. Wow. That's a name for
what a rolling advertisement for Ungo Box.
Yeah, so none of that. What you do see, though, that is proliferated, especially 3/4 of the hall, is paint protection film. Oh my gosh, there is so much
paint protection film is a new car audio.
Yeah, well, and so there's vinyl wrap. Let me actually be more specific. There's tons of vinyl wrap from all sorts of companies in all different colors. But then last year it was like PPF in color, and then PPF came, which was clear paint protection film. But then color PPF was like the big thing last year, so you could get black
because everyone knew that wraps weren't really paint protection film.
Right, they're like 3 mils thick, whereas paint protection is like 8 mils thick. And now the latest thing is new printable PPF, and this is actually one of our PCA members, Tanvir. You remember Tanvir? He brought the Carrera GT to work. This is his company, and this Carless is the name of the company. You can print on this PPF, and Damon, if you show the picture of the mirror there, so that mirror with the lady's face there, that wasn't a ball. Like, they were done with that, and I basically unraveled the ball and put it on the mirror, and it laid down perfectly with no water, the tack was perfect. I could stretch it but not disfigure her face, and you can basically wrap a compound surface so incredibly, I don't say easy, but back in the day it would be almost impossible to do. Now you can wrap it, and I have a video that we'll probably put on social media later. So that's really cool, but that's not the latest cool tech, although that is cool. And that would probably work really well for like the commercial trucks that need to get wrapped and cars that want some crazy design. About 3 years ago, I was at the Porsche Classic Center in Germany, and they showed me this 928 in silver. And they said, take a look at the front end of this 928 and tell us what you think of this finish. It looked pretty good, whatever classic silver it was. And like, touch it. And I touched it, and it was like, it wasn't like, you know how like metal has like that sharp kind of coldness to it. Like this one felt like it was vinyl. And turns out it was some sort of spray PPF. They put it on like paint, but it's removable. Right? I'm like, wow, that's incredible, because with spray, guess what you don't have to do? Now all you have to do is mask. There's no blades, because so many people get their cars wrapped, and let's face it, you're trusting the installer to put a blade and cut the PPF, but not.
And by the time you take it off, the installer's long gone.
Exactly, right? So just think of being able to put PPF on your car, and compound circles or compound shapes are no problem now, because you don't have to wrap a flat piece of film
and when
around
you say
something.
Spray, this is in a professional spray booth.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, some people will say, well, what about Plasti Dip? I see them do da-da. Okay. That's like a very consumer grade, application. And for those of you that have tried to Plasti Dip your badges or wheels, like, how much of a mess that can be. Now, I don't know about modern Plasti Dip paints, but think of that, but on steroids. So now there's this company called Peel Clear. I think you have a photo of that, Damon. Peel Clear. Yep. Okay, so you see that wall of paint there, Manny?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You see that Turbo S there?
Yep.
So that purple is painted on PPF. That car was taped. No panels were taken off that car. They taped all the edges, and it's like a four-part system where you paint a base with like a body shop grade paint gun, and you spray the base, and then you choose any color. Look at the depth of color in that ChromaFlare paint. And then once it's done, you can see how that has been wet sanded at the top, and then it can be polished like regular paint. And that car had some sections of it where they chose to make it thicker, up to 11 mils, like super thick.
So how long did he say it can stay on there for? Did it say?
10 years easily. And you basically do a color change on your car. Not a single knife has been touched to it. You can simply tape it off, and body shops will do it in a dust-free environment.
And is the labor to put it in equal or more than a traditional wrap?
So I can say the materials cost on it is going to be cheaper than vinyl wrap. The labor is very similar to what a body shop does today in terms of, back taping a door and windows and stuff like that. I would say the labor's probably...
But they don't have to sand the original paint or anything?
Nope.
They just clean it and...
Yep. Unless there's a defect in...
Basically, they treat it like a regular wrap.
Yep.
A regular wrap, you would
get
the paint ready, but you're not sanding or anything, getting the paint to stick to it.
Yeah.
Wow.
How crazy is that? I think that's going to be a game changer. Like you can do it clear if you want, but for those of you that want to do a color change, you can do it. And I'll put a video later on social media, Boggs will. So they let me peel off certain sections of it, and it came off clean, came off one piece. It was quite a neat engineering feat. So I think you're going to start seeing that in in the future. So let's go to this cool car, and let me see if Manny knows what this is. This old rusty car. It's German, and it's lowered. And actually, when I was there, Richard Rawlings offered the guy that he would buy it, and the guy wouldn't sell it because he literally just got it working and running. It's on air ride. It's got
obviously it's front engine.
It was front engine.
It was, okay.
It was front engine, but now it's got a Type 4 motor in the back. Oh, you see a little clue? I see.
I didn't see it from there. What did he
too late.
Show
late.
him the clue.
Oh,
show him the clue. And this car is from 1960.
Oh, wow. I would have never guessed that. Is it Audi 80 or?
No, it's an Auto Union.
Auto Union.
Oh, wow. I was going to say Audi, but wow, Auto Union, huh?
Auto Union. How cool is that? I don't think I've ever seen one before. And he said it was
that real
rare.
patina, or is that
That's real patina. Yeah, real patina. There's
wow, I've never seen that.
Auto, and
Never
that's what Richard Rawlings was like. I've been around cars for a long time, and I've never seen one this car, but how rad.
I would just love to be able to walk around a show like that randomly and be able to make offers on cars.
Oh yeah, because he walked up to the guy. He's like, "All right, how much?" And the guy was like, "It's not for sale." And he goes, "No, how much?" He's like, "Oh, it's not for sale." So he said, "Here's my card, and let me know when there's a price tag on it." I'm like, "Whoa,
wow."
Yeah.
Because Auto Union, I usually think the V16.
Yeah, the Grand Prix car.
Grand Prix car, and then I think there was the top speed car or something that they used that had bodywork.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
All right. So can you look up the green car from the Toyo Tread Pass? There you go. That one. Yep.
Oops.
So it's actually
not me.
It's
Wrong person.
It's actually olive. Now this car was featured. It's called the Toyo Tread Pass that connects one of the halls to. I think it's Central Hall to the South Hall, and Toyo has their curated collection of cars, obviously very modified. But this one was it was a PCA member, Philip, and Philip owns Indecent out of Houston. We recently dropped a social media post on it, 991. And the wide body kit on this car is incredible. Very tastefully done, a very custom olive color. But the story behind this car is the owner wanted the car to be themed after his Nikes and his Nike Green Dragons. So the interior bits that you see matches the shoe. The lining of the shoe is hand painted on the roof of the car. The shoe is called Green Lobsters or something. Yeah, Green Lobsters. So the wheels are inspired by lobster claws with carbon barrels. Very nice wide body kit. It's got a supercharged 550 horsepower motor, methanol injection, custom carbon seats. The suspension was done by Eisenlohr, and so it's not simply big wheels with spacers. I mean, it was tastefully done. Some exposed carbon fiber, and more importantly, the starting price for this car is actually quite reasonable. Of course, you have to start with the donor car, but you can have a wide body kit installed similar to this. Not as many options, but starting about $135,000.
Oh wow, just in my ballpark.
Just in your ballpark. I mean, for a bespoke car, that's not that's not crazy.
Yeah,
right?
you could spend a lot more money on something like that. It's got unique details.
What do you think an RWB costs?
An RWB, I think the kit is probably about 150 or so. Yeah. But I would say the execution on this car, some people, they don't mind getting their fenders cut and put on
991, I think, to begin with, right?
Yeah. So anyways, SEMA was very productive for us. We saw tons of partners and members. And if you ever get a chance to go, even if you're not in the industry, on Fridays, they do open up to the public and you can get tickets to it. And they're doing all of the social media influencers in the automotive world are there, and you'll see them, at various places doing seminars. They're doing burnouts, and so pretty cool if you can do it. And it's actually quite inexpensive because there's so many hotel rooms in Las Vegas, and flights to Las Vegas are fairly cheap. So yeah, put it on your list to do in the future. All right, I want to remind everyone to be sure to subscribe for our newsletters, pca.org. We have performance news, e-brake news, and Mark Fresh news, all free. And let's get into the news. Maybe the first one is the most recently added news item, and it's talking about a Porsche win.
Yes, so Manthey won the LM GT3 championship for the WEC. Congratulations to Manthey. Unfortunately, the Penske boys couldn't say the same thing with the 963. Their final hurrah, since they're leaving WEC, was not memorable at all. Very sad, in my opinion. I would love to, in a perfect world, see them come back and go for a Le Mans win with this car. But for now,
it's on pause.
Not happening.
Yeah, and that ties in with the first one you listed, right? The Proton unlikely to continue.
Yeah, they haven't formally announced, at least not yet, but it's highly unlikely that they will also continue racing in as a privateer in the with the 963 in the WEC. Maybe they'll take it over to IMSA where they can run it and be competitive. But for now, yeah, we're not going to see. It'll be kind of sad to watch these big races and not see Porsche going for overall.
Yeah. Maybe let's end Porsche news on a good note and talk about their JD Power study rankings.
So Porsche is very cognizant about JD Powers. I think they live and breathe by it and how they do. Same thing goes for Toyota and Lexus. But this time they were rated as the top premium brand that was just released on Thursday. The third consecutive year they ranked number one. So this has a lot to do with how the dealer treats you in the first few years of your ownership. So that's why dealers will say, you're going to get a survey, and if you don't give us anything but fives, please let us know before you submit the survey what we can do to get those top ratings, because they don't want any kind of blemish, anything to hurt them with these JD Power surveys. Yeah. So congratulations to Porsche.
Well done. All right, let's talk about upcoming Porsche or PCA events. By time you hear this, we will have wrapped up Unstock at Porsche Santa Clarita, which is looking to be almost as sold out. Not almost, but pretty much sold out.
Right now we're a little oversold, but we always have cancellations, so we'll be fine. But I would say probably the best set of cars I've seen,
really,
at least from the photos.
Awesome.
It's kind of like online dating. I'm not sure what's going to show up, but at least what's the
initial photos look promising.
The photos look really cool. I'm really excited to see some of these cars.
And it was cool to hear a lot of folks at SEMA know about Unstock.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I get a lot of people saying, when is the East Coast Unstock going to happen? As if they want to show the West Coast folks that they can do just as good as them in modified cars. But I thought this year's crop of cars that are coming, I'm like, oh, they're really upping the game up here.
And for those of you that aren't coming, don't worry. We have both Damon and Boggs going to Unstock, so we're going to cover it and make sure you get to see everything.
As long as our flights aren't canceled.
Oh, man, knock on wood. All right. We also are planning for Tech Tactics East in Easton, Pennsylvania. We don't have dates yet, but we will be moving forward with that.
Correct.
And then Works Reunion Amelia Island. Make sure to have that on your calendar. That will be March 6th, and registration for Amelia Island, registration opens December 10th. Damon, you want to talk a little bit about the Carrera 3.0 Buyer's Guide?
Yes, definitely. So the Carrera 3.0 Buyer's Guide. This is a car that most Americans probably aren't super familiar with because it was only sold in Europe. It's also mistaken as, by a lot of people, as a 911 SC prototype, or the precursor, or it's just another 911 SC. That's probably how I knew the car, and it was sort of in that gray area, and I never really researched to figure it out what it actually was. Well, it's not a 911 SC. The engine is more related to the 73 Carrera RS 2.7s. And this video, and these cars are now, older than 25 years old. So it's one of those things where if you want something that's maybe a little bit more under the radar, isn't going to break the bank like an RS 2.7, but is maybe a little more special than 911 SE or a 911 Carrera 3.2 liter. A Carrera 3.0 is one of those cars. I didn't drive one. Nathan did. I rode passenger, and I can say that the engine does have... He talks about the special sauce a lot in this video. But by the time you watch this podcast, it'll be on YouTube. It's an hour, and I've got to make the last couple edits, but it's going to be a little bit over an hour and 20 minutes. I think an hour and 22. So it goes through everything. Well, I shouldn't say everything, because there's always something else. Almost everything you could possibly want to know about these cars.
I was going to say, it sounds like it may be the definitive guide for the Carrera 3.0.
Definitive guide for the
because there's not a whole lot out there.
Yeah, this is one of those things where Nathan has picked over the years popular cars, cars that have already received a lot of attention, maybe not received an in-depth model guide like he's known for doing now, but this Carrera 3.0 I think represents the first really niche sort of model guide that he's done. You could argue the GT3 guide was sort of like that, but everybody knows the GT3.
Yeah. What's a 3.0, like the price range of a 3.0 now?
You know what's funny is I don't know. We didn't really quite talk about that, and I haven't researched prices. I think he didn't talk about it because it's supposed to be an evergreen sort of guide, so we didn't name any prices, so it doesn't date us as 2025.
3.0s are?
Well, let's look at Bring a Trailer. My go-to.
Yeah, and I really have no idea. I haven't looked once at the prices. I've just been editing the video.
I'm thinking the Carrera 3.0 now is probably 90 to 150.
I'm gonna guess that it's in the I'm gonna say 80 to 110.
Okay.
And let's see what Manny brings up.
It said 77. This is AI, which is never wrong. 7730 brought in 90,000.
90, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Look at that.
It kind of reminds me of the 74 Euro Carrera.
Oh, yeah.
Remember
it's
that?
A lot like that.
They had the 2.7 RS engine, to your
Yep.
point. Not many people understood it because they thought it was like the American version.
2.7,
that was a 2.7, but not RS. And so people kind of dismissed it. But those in the know knew until finally those two worlds collided, and suddenly people were like, "Oh, wait a minute, this is the car to get."
Yeah,
it's a European version.
Yeah.
But
that secret's out now.
And it's only 1976, 1977, and unlike the earlier Carrera RSs, it doesn't use MFI. Gosh, why am I? Tell me what MFI stands for. I'm drawing a blank. Mechanical fuel injection. Yeah. I don't know why I was drawing a blank there. And this one is CIS.
Which is technically mechanical too, but not the mechanical we know.
So you get probably 80% of the awesomeness of an MFI RS motor, but it just doesn't have quite that edge.
And that was part of the reason why people just immediately confuse it with the SC, because the SC is also CIS.
And if you look on the VIN tag, it says 911 SC on it.
Does it really?
Inner trunk. So you look in there, it says 911 SC.
So I remember that unique Carrera 3.0 script.
Right.
That was on it, but
Yeah,
that sounds like a
lot of misconceptions and confusion around this model. So hopefully we set it straight.
All right, we'll check it out. Speaking of checking out, check out PCASimRacing.com if you want to race other PCA members online. They can show you how to get started and all the different levels of PCA Sim Racing. PCA Insider Swag, if you head over to PCA's web store, PCAwebstore.org, we have bottles, mugs, t-shirts, and of course, if you're just looking for a PCA Insider decal, send us your address information to podcast@pca.org. Manny, Damon, anything else to cover before we head on out?
I know it'll be, by the time you hear this, it'll be, we would have already recorded it, but check out Tech Tactics Live. It will be, this week's going to be with Tim McNair.
Oh, yeah.
Who is a world-renowned detailer, prepares cars for the highest of concours like Pebble Beach, but super nice guy and so willing to share his knowledge. There's going to be a lot of tips. We're going to have him on the podcast to talk about how he got turn a hobby into a profession. But on Tech Tactics, he's going to show us some new tricks, some new product he's bringing down. And like I said, he does it for like everyday people who want to just clean their cars, not just how to prepare your car for Pebble Beach.
The best thing about Tim is he details cars while wearing a like Brooks Brothers button-up shirt. He does a fantastic job. All right, folks. Well, thank you for listening. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Consider sharing our show with fellow Porsche enthusiasts. Until next time, stay safe, and we'll catch you down the road.